She's the chair, CEO, co-founder of Lead Bank. In the past, she's had roles at Block, Yahoo, Apex Partners, Goldman Sachs, and so much more. She currently sits on the boards of Affirm, Endeavor, and a whole bunch of other companies. She's a former Alibaba board member. You're everywhere. You touch everything.
Just banking.
Okay, well, let's talk about banking, because I think there's a big question about what's going to happen to legacy traditional banking under this Trump administration, but also what's going to happen to the sort of the fintech next generation version of banking and crypto and all of it.
Well, I think with crypto, that's probably the most interesting thing, because you've seen these momentum moves in the crypto market. First, when ETFs evolved, with BlackRock announcing their crypto ETF, and now everyone expects there to be a market structure bill to settle the rule of law around crypto and stablecoins, and I think that'll be incredibly helpful to the market. And fintech, I think it's been a long evolution over the last 10 years, where you've seen a wholesale change in the way banks show up now in people's pockets,
right,
and try to make transactions easier for consumers and businesses. And I think any of that evolution is amazing.
Would you be long all sorts of crypto? Would you be long all sorts of fintech? Would you be short legacy banks and Visa and MasterCard? I mean, how do you think about sort of the future going forward?
No, I think banking has basically been unboxed and shows up in people's pockets. It shows up in people's transactions. It's one of the largest sectors in the economy. And I think where all money is largely digital at this point, 90% of the money that is in the U.S. economy is largely digital. I think the evolution of crypto will just continue that evolution.
So who are the winners, though, but also who are the losers?
Well, banks have proven to be part of the financial structure of the crypto market. I think you've seen them take on crypto, whether it be ETFs, whether it be a market trading.
Well, so maybe the legacy guys eat the fintech guys.
Well, it's hard to define what fintech is today, because everyone has such strong technology that I think you've seen legacy banks take on the business and try to evolve into a more technology-first position.
What advantages do original fintech companies have if the legacy guys are doing the same things from a tech perspective?
Fintechs have historically started with first principle thinking. They've built with scale, they've built with efficiency, and that has enabled them to, in some cases, catapult past legacy banks and force the issue of whether consumers are able to have a user interface that's easy, that's beautiful, that's efficient. And so you've seen tech companies like Square, like Affirm, like Nubank change the paradigm of how banking is done for consumers and businesses. I think that kind of thinking, and it's applied to the U.S. government now in the upcoming administration, it's applied to technology companies and to banks, and I think it'll continue to make the experience for all of us much better.
Debanking with Joe Rogan. I want you to go down the rabbit hole with me, just for a second here.
I'm happy to, because I don't believe this to be true.
So you don't?
No, not at all. So I run a bank. I build fintech infrastructure. I work with both crypto companies and technology companies. And what I have seen is where banks have chosen not to invest in being a part of crypto infrastructure, it's because they don't have the skills, one. So they've decided that they can't invest in the compliance technology in order to bank the market. Or two, they don't have enough depth that they decide they're going to keep some of those players in the market, and so they pull back. And then the last piece is there are many companies in the crypto space in particular that hadn't grown up over the last few years. Those companies hadn't done the work to build the compliance teams, the BSA teams, the AML teams. Those companies
anti-money laundering for those playing at home
were largely debanked and asked to actually do the work in order to be a legal part of the banking system.
So you think this argument that they were debanked for political purposes or something else not true?
I don't think it's true. And
you think it's for compliance reasons?
I do. And maybe there was a particular issue around a person. I think, all of that, you got to do your diligence and make sure you understand what's going on in that person's profile and the risk. And so maybe there are examples that are extreme.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's an industry issue. And while I've seen a lot of the crypto industry come and work with us, for example, and work with JP Morgan as another example, or Bank of New York Mellon, there are large institutions that have banked the industry.
What about the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and then maybe some of the fallout that came from that with other banks pulling back too? I wonder if that accounts for
it. Absolutely does. And there's two other banks that were part of the crypto industry that also...
Signature
and Silvergate. So you take all of those accounts at once and now need to move them across the country in order to get banked.
But you
with
don't,
a lot of
you don't
startups.
believe when the FDIC took over those banks, for example, that was some kind of debanking program, right? Because there have been these allegations, which you've heard, from even people like Barney Frank, who I think was on the board of Signature at the time, suggesting that the company was solvent, the bank was solvent, and that this was sort of an unnecessary move. And he believed, the implication maybe was that there was some political shenanigans going on. I don't know.
The reality of why the FDIC chose not to support or support in different ways, I can't begin to get in the minds of regulators. I can tell you that the companies that banked with those institutions had options. And if they chose to do the work around AML, BSA, they had choices. And we were one of them, for example. And so I'm not sure I believe any of that. And I've seen plenty of circumstances where these companies are banked, from the JP Morgans on down to folks like us.
My next guest says this is actually an NVIDIA killer and potentially a Bitcoin killer. So I'm going to bring in EMJ Capital founders, their president, Eric Jackson. Eric, that's a bold statement. So let's first start, though. Let's back up a little bit. Let's start with what is quantum? What role is quantum going to play in our world?
Well, Charles, I mean, as excited as people have gotten in the last year and a half about AI, I mean, quantum is just the next level of that interest. It's like more powerful computations, more powerful computers, faster solutions that you can imagine, more lifelike, movies or music created at the snap of a fingers. That's the next level for AI.
So Perplexity suggests that there isn't an immediate threat to Bitcoin for several reasons, and we're going to put them on the screen behind me in a moment, but not immediate. But they say that there will be a threat. They say right now you've got specific applications, scale, error rates, and time frame, but they also say, make no mistake, that they're on the path to actually being a threat to Bitcoin. How would this be a threat? Would it be a threat to the encryption? What happens here?
Exactly. It's the encryption. We used to think that, a few days ago, we thought Satoshi had kind of locked all the crypto wallets of the world, made them so secure, nobody could ever crack into these things. And that's part of what powered Bitcoin to 100K. But the power of quantum computing is that, yes, it is actually theoretically possible that in the future, these quantum computers will be able to hack into all the crypto wallets. Not just that, access, if that wasn't bad enough, I mean, think about all the governments with sensitive data, all the companies, all the banks with sensitive data. The state of the art right now is RSA technology. These mathematical formulas could be, solved, instantaneously, and all of that data access. So it's a big threat. And the fact that Google just dropped this chip out of the blue yesterday, it sort of signals that this world is moving much faster than we expected, and therefore we're going to have security in place to protect all this data and all these billions of Bitcoin around the world.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher, and I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And I bought you Jordy Rose a few times. And then again, guys, if you have the NWO book, you know all about quantum computing. But as you see, back in 2013, Google and NASA came together for this technology. The Great Deception is definitely coming. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have Jackie, the CEO of Lead Bank, speaks about fintech. But guys, don't forget, Trump, when he was president, signed an executive order for research on fintech, and Ripple was mentioned in that executive order. And is the legacy market going to be on the outside of this new technology, this new digital economy? No, it's not. And I bring it to you every day. Visa and MasterCard and all these big banks and big corporations are integrating all of this technology. But the masses are not going to do the research. And we know for a fact mainstream media is not going to give you the facts. We know big banks and big corporations have been funding crypto from the beginning. And then we have the debanking. And the Fed used the narrative that crypto was the reason why SVB collapsed. But guys, we know it all came from their treasuries. And crypto, again, is going to take the blame for the fall of this legacy market. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have quantum computing, another technology that will take away privacy. And then also, AI will be able to take over the economy. And plus, quantum computing is going to be able to create illusions where you won't be able to tell what's real and not real. And quantum computing has been around for decades. It's already here. It's not 10 years away. You clearly saw what Google and NASA teamed up. That was an article from back in 2013 that Jordy Rose is speaking about. They've been in research. They're bringing it out now and telling the people now because they're ready to steamroll. Remember, Trump's job is to land us in this fourth industrial revolution. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Amazon ready to release the drones. And we know Walmart is right behind them. Guys, the robots, algorithms, and drones are about to take over this economy. And when you add in quantum computing, where these machines will be able to pull from this data and have synthetic brains that think like you, the NWO won't need a human involved in this economy. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Now we have CPI numbers coming out tomorrow. And of course, in the mainstream media, you just heard something that they never do. They're trying to prepare you and already tell you that inflation numbers are going to come in hot. And remember, the Fed stated that they were going to be data dependent. So they definitely should be pausing if they're just going off the data. But it looks like they are going to be cutting. And then pause at the beginning of the year, which they definitely should be pausing right now, and then start cutting at the beginning of the year because we know tariffs are going to create more inflation. And we have Trump's pick from the Treasury said that Jerome Powell is going to stay for his term. And guys, we know for a fact he was going to stay because Jerome Powell doesn't work for the president. The president works for the Fed. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows. When it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
What can this do? Drug discovery and other things. Is this too much to afford, Google's market cap today for what this could be in however many years?
I'm in the camp, I think, consistent with what most of the panelists said, which is this is probably too much for today. I agree with Guy that this is more of a validation point for Google's tech. But this, just to put in perspective, they started this Willow project 12 years ago. And so the potential around this being commercialized is probably 10 years away. And so it's still a long time.
Hey, David. Yeah, so Amazon has been testing these drones across the country really for years, but they officially went live here in Phoenix about a month ago. Amazon is now using drones to deliver packages around the Phoenix metro area. These aircrafts, they're meant for smaller items, so think of things that would fit in a shoebox, for example. They weigh less than 5 pounds or less. The example we saw here that was delivered was a Jenga game. You do pay about 10 extra bucks for drone delivery to get it faster. You do also have to confirm where you want it dropped off on a map of your property, so you kind of have to set it up. There have been some drastic design changes as well over the years that cut the noise of these recent aircrafts by about 40%. They can now go roughly double the distance. Also, through testing, figured out things like dogs. So dogs like to chase drones, as you can imagine, so they changed some of the design. I did sit down with Amazon executive David Carbon, who spent nearly a decade at Boeing. He tells me managing airspace has been the biggest challenge and does see drones as a supplement to Amazon's truck drivers.
At the end of the day, we're going to need every facet of delivery that we can get our hands on. There's not enough people on Earth to deliver how much people are going to order. So I don't see this impacting that at all. This is about speed. It's not about anything else. It's about safety and speed.
Amazon got FAA approval for its MK30 drones back in October. This drone site where we are here is integrated directly with the same-day fulfillment center, which is how Amazon plans to scale this program quickly. I'm told they're going to be rolling out in new cities next year. The goal, they say, 500 million deliveries a year with within 30 minutes or less. So far, they've done thousands of deliveries, so still a wide gap there. And there is competition. Others, like Google and Walmart, are now successfully rolling out similar programs, guys.
Main event for the markets this week is the inflation data at the consumer level. We get the CPI report for November. It's due out tomorrow morning, and it is expected to show that inflation ticked up slightly from October. You're talking up 0.3% for the estimates on this. Last month, it was 0.2%. You're also talking year over year up by 2.7% versus up by 2.6% for the previous month.
So for those that are looking for more of a valuation play, that's starting to become more interesting, but probably a little brave to step in before a lot of tariff releases emerge.
As the president said on Sunday, and I am in complete agreement with him, that Jay Powell will serve out his term and leave the building as Fed chair on May 26th.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told told his members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy. And you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books, is time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.